Hey everybody, welcome. We're going to try and teach a little bit about, well, this may sound like an infomercial for Roboform. I just chose Roboform because it is the uh, program that I've been using for a long time to keep control of my passwords and fill out web-based forms. Uh, I find it to be the best one that I've been exposed to, but there are many others out there. So uh, let's get started and let's talk about passwords. First of all, they wanted me to say a little something about myself. For those of you who don't know me, past, present, lifetime member of the Sarasota PC user group. Uh, no, I'm not going to. You can read it. I hate talking about myself. Some people would disagree, like my wife, but I really don't like talking about myself, except this part. I am a software junkie. Probably isn't anybody that you know who has more software. If it's downloadable, I've installed it. So yeah, I qualify as a software junkie. Okay, Yui, if you're still there, I am not seeing my notes. Help, I need my notes.
Click the little button down next to the arrows on the bottom, and then click the Notes tab in the center.
I am, okay, got it. Huh, okay. I'm not seeing anything, but let's see what happens here. Yes, somebody did mention that 5 randomly selected attendees will win a free 1-year license for Roboform everywhere, courtesy of Cyber Systems, and I thank them for their donation. This one license is going to be good for all your computers and your mobile devices. And we'll go through that a little bit later. And here are the rules for the contest. Make sure, if you haven't already done so, to enter your full name and user group in the chat box. Yes, I learned how to do that little animation. Yes, do it now so you don't forget. And at the end, 5 attendees will be randomly chosen to win. And here's the most important part. If you hear your name, you must acknowledge that by responding in the chat room. Okay? Because we don't want people to be logging in right now and then disappear. If you're not there at the end, to acknowledge, we go to the next one. Alrighty. I am still not seeing my notes, Yui. Help.
See them either. No, I'm not sure if they got uploaded with the last version we uploaded.
Okay. Well, we're going to ring it. Well, we're going to talk about what are the components of a strong password. And more importantly, for those of you over 30, how do you remember them? But first, we're going to review the components of a bad password. I am just going to stop here for 1 second, and I am going to have to open up my presentation on my computer so that I can see my notes as I go along. Because without them, this could just be gibberish. Well, it could be gibberish anyway. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. I'm new at this. Okay, so we're going to start off by talking about the worst passwords for the year 2013. And the good news is that the word password is no longer the most popular password on the internet. And for those of you chuckling, don't chuckle, you'd be surprised. It was number 1. Now the most common is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Password went down to the second worst password. Okay, so in the spirit of educational password shaming, here's the list of the 2013 year's worst passwords, along with my expert analysis of what each one says about the sort of person who uses it. If you feel if you find one of those on the list, it would be prudent to promptly, well, first I put down re-examine your life, but let's just say change it. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't be bothered to take you in those basic steps to protect my personal information. Seriously, just go ahead and take it. And then, of course, password, I failed to understand the question. Here's another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but the computer said I had to use at least 8 characters. Very tricky. QWERTY. Aren't I clever? My password is written right there on the keyboard. ABC 1, 2, 3. That's Yuli's favorite. I'm a fan of the Jackson 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because 7 is my lucky number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm a positive integer maximalist. Here's one you'll see all the time. 111 111. I managed to find one of the few passwords that's both easy to crack and hard to remember. How many ones was that again? And then we have I love you. I think that's a favorite for women. It's true, I really do. Now this one I had to address on the Facebook page today. Adobe 123. You may have cracked my Adobe password hacker, but you'll never guess my password for Microsoft. Yeah, this is very prevalent. A lot of people are doing this, thinking you'll never guess it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You were expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, weren't you? Admin. All right. Yeah, you should be fired immediately. If you have a router, for example, and your password for your router is still admin, yes, you should be fired. Change it immediately. And yeah, okay, we're going to go that whole route to from 1 to 0 because you've mastered the base 10 numerical system. And this is my favorite. Let me in. Might as well let everyone else in too. 6 zeros, my day job is coming up with nuclear launch codes. Yeah, okay. Monkey, I'm an actual monkey. No, I didn't make these up. These were the worst passwords of the year, last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, I can't be bothered to take even those basic steps to protect my personal information. Sunshine, I just try myself to sleep at night. Photoshop, this is wonderful. They told me not to use the same password for every program, so. Shadow, I fancy myself quite sneaky. Princess, I'm waiting to be swept off my feet by a Nigerian prince. Password 1. My last password was compromised, so I added a 1 this time for extra security. And then we have trust no one. It's not paranoia if they really do keep guessing my password. If your password is on this list, change it now. Okay. How can you remember all your internet passwords? Well, you can use the same password for everything, and that's fine if you want to increase your chances of identity theft. You can write them on paper. Somebody on Facebook said she keeps a little notebook. That's a good strategy if you want to look at your list every time you visit a site where your password is needed. And what if the paper is lost, or worse, your dog eats it? And then you can use what, in my opinion, is one of the best password and form filling programs. What we're talking about today, Roboform. Experts always recommend using different passwords for different logins. Any normal person cannot possibly follow that advice and memorize all their usernames and passwords. That's where password managers come in. Password managers securely store your usernames and passwords so you don't have to remember them. For me, it's like having a wife in my computer. Okay, now, how would you manage 1,579 passwords? This is a screenshot because I couldn't scroll the entire directory. This is a screenshot of my Roboform passwords. And if you look down on the bottom, where my little arrow is, and here's a little bigger example, 1,579 passwords. So I have no life. This is pure evidence that I have no life. But I don't forget my passwords. Now, why do I recommend Roboform? Easy logins. It's now easier than ever to log into your favorite websites and applications. Roboform makes the process effortless by automatically saving, then entering your username and passwords. Simply click and log in similar to a browser bookmark. You'll never need to remember or type another password again. Fill forms fast. Use the Roboform Identities feature to securely store your name, address, email, credit cards, and all other personal information. Just click on your Roboform identity to fill the entire web form automatically. It'll save yourselves hours of needless typing. I'm going to go into these areas in much more detail. Access your Roboform logins and identities on all of your computers and devices. Roboform runs on Windows, Mac, Linux, Windows USB drives. They also have apps for most popular mobile phones, including the iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry. Use the Roboform Everywhere service to synchronize and back up your data with their servers and enjoy secure one-click access from anywhere. Again, our little contest reminder. Make sure you entered your name and user group affiliation in the chat box. And you must be in attendance and visible in the chat room when the drawing takes place. Your name is picked. Respond in the chat room. Okay. This is the only toolbar I allow in any browser I use. And yes, it is spyware free. The Roboform toolbar gives you easy yet secure access to all your passwords. It's the perfect way to access all your favorite websites as well as fill out online web forms, all in one click. You can even save notes and bookmarks, search the internet, and generate new passwords, all from one toolbar. The login menu, the logins menu organizes and displays all of your passcards on one screen, which is your usernames and passwords, and is securely stored as Roboform passcards. From the logins menu, you can print a list of your passcards. I did that with 1,579. I had to refill my paper tray 3 times. Don't do that. You can edit your passcards, and if you click on a passcard, Roboform will go to the website, fill in your username, password, and click the submit button automatically. Now, here is my Google page. I am an Internet Explorer, and you can see the red highlighted area is my Roboform toolbar. When you log into a website for the first time, Roboform gives you the option to save your login information into a passcard. When you click on a passcard, Roboform will log you into that website automatically. Now you'll see in this example, okay, it's asking you, do you want Roboform to save it as a passcard? Maybe you don't, so you'll just hit cancel. In this case, we had one existing Hotmail passcard for Jenny. And then Bill went on, and he wanted to save his passcard also. So now we just saved it as another passcard. So when either Bill or Jenny goes to the Hotmail website, all they have to do, this window will pop up, and they'll have to choose which login they want to use. They'll click it, and they'll go right into their Hotmail account automatically. Now, if you notice, this is a drop down. What I did was I clicked on where the arrow shows logins, and then I got this drop down. This is showing my current passwords. The screenshot that you saw before was from another computer. That's why you're not seeing 1,579 passcards here. On the current computer that I'm using, these are my passcards. So I clicked on logins to get that drop down. Then I went and I clicked on Facebook. Now I had Facebook Dave, I had Facebook Allison, that's my wife, so we each have our Facebook account. So I clicked on Facebook Dave, and then when I clicked on login, it took me right to my Facebook page. Simple as that. Nothing else to do. Now, another thing you need to consider is if you're going to have 1,579 passwords is how do you come up with all these passwords that are good, that are secure, that are going to meet the requirements of the website? Well, the password generator generates hard-to-guess passwords for an added level of security. You can now use secure passwords because Roboform will remember them for you. Let's show you how that works. Okay. I clicked on, you see the arrow on the toolbar. Okay, now I went to a new website, logged in, signed up for the first time, and now it's asking me to create a password. So I'm going to click on that button that says Generate in the toolbar. When I do, I'm going to get this little drop-down dialog box. And you'll see it has a couple of fields. One which is a password. But the things that I really wanted to point out is what I have selected. The number of characters. Okay, very often a website will say it has to be a minimum number of characters, whatever they are. You can just use that up and down arrow to select the number of characters you want your password to be. Now, the boxes that I have checked on the bottom are the ones that I use. I want capital letters, I want small letters, I want numbers, and I want special characters. And how many, what's the minimum number of digits, numeric digits I want. And you can change that to whatever, you want it to be. So, for example, in this case, I said I want a 12 character password. I clicked Generate New, and that was the password that it generated. Now, because I have the box checked that says Copy New Generated Password to Clipboard, that's where it is. Now I just go onto the website, which asks me to enter the password I want to use, and I just paste it in there. And then once you've done that, it's going to say, you want us to remember that password? Yes. Now let's do another example where now I change the number of characters to 8. And I'm just going to click Generate New, and there's my 8-character password. Now again, these aren't passwords I would ever be able to come up with. I mean, I could, but how would I know that 1,579 of them are all going to be different? I don't. The odds are against it, but this makes it so much easier. Now, I generally don't change the conditions. Let there be capital letters, small letters, numbers, and special characters. There isn't any website that will require anything other than those selections. So why not leave them all in there all the time? Because to me, it doesn't matter what my password is. I don't have to think about it. So it just makes life so much easier. Okay. Yes. Okay. This is probably going a little too fast. Somebody yell at me if I'm going too fast. I don't know how you yell at me other than maybe raising me. This is the Roboform's option dialog box. box. And you can see on the left in the white area, there's a lot of different options. But I'm only going to talk about a couple of them, which I think are the most important. The first one that I chose is the start page. You can actually make your own customizable Roboform start page for your browser, or home page, if you will. And I do so by, in this case, if you look on the start page, the number of the most popular logins that I want to show is 30, 5 of the most popular bookmarks, and 10 of the most recently used logins. So, I chose start page, and now I'm going to click make Roboform my start page. So when I do that, and of course you see I have sync my start page checked also, so that on all my devices, my browser start page will be Roboform. That's personal preference. It's something I don't do normally. I just really usually like it on my computer because that's really what I'm using the most. But you can sync it so that your home page is the same on all your devices. And once I've made Roboform my start page, that's what it looks like. So as you can see, it gives you little boxes for your favorite logins. All I'd have to do is click on one. Single click on any one of them. It's automatically going to take me to the site, fill in the form, log me in without any additional effort or thought process. Okay, and you also can use the Roboform Identities feature to securely store your name, address, email, credit cards, and all other personal information. You just click on your Roboform Identity to fill entire web forms automatically, which saves yourselves hours of needless typing. Not only that, but if you do a lot of online ordering, as I do, a lot of purchases online, when you have to enter your shipping address, if you've done it once and your login information is accurate in Roboform, every time you go to fill in the form, you don't have to worry about that I typed the right address, that I put the right zip code in, whatever, phone number, I mean, whatever it is. You don't have to worry about that. It's if it was done right the first time, it's always going to be right, and makes life easy. If, for example, I went to tigerdirect.com, again, not a commercial, just a random site I pulled out of my hat, and you can see all the forms, all the form fields are blank. So there's my Roboform toolbar, and then I click on my name, which is my identities. Okay, and I click out Fill Forms, and you'll notice I did not type those in. It filled the forms. Yes, I blanked out some of the other personal stuff because this is going to be on YouTube, and the whole world doesn't need to know all about me. But you get the gist. I hope you get the gist. I just clicked it, filled it out. I know everything is accurate. I didn't have to go through the drudgery of typing all this stuff over and over and over again. I went to the site. So, makes life easy. I can't hear you, but yet I hear you anyway. What about security? Roboform's encryption technology securely stores your passwords with one master password, serving as your encryption key. Your master password is not stored in the Roboform servers, and you're the only one that knows it. So that's the one you don't want to forget. When it asks you to create a master password, that's the one you don't want to forget. And quite frankly, that could be any one of those worst passwords of 2013, because no one's going to have access to it, no one's going to see it. The next thing I wanted to talk about in looking at the options page, oh, I hope you didn't hear that, my advanced database is an update. Okay, the next thing I wanted to do is I'm clicking on my the selection that says user data. And one of the other things that was brought up on the Facebook page today was, well, oh, what if my computer crashes and I can lose I can lose all my passwords. That's why I keep everything on a notebook. I'm saying, well, if that was the case, I would agree with you that a password manager like Roboform would be a bad idea. But you have the ability to back up and restore your passwords, all the login information, you got your identity information, all can get backed up. Back it up to an external hard drive, back it up to a flash drive, back it up in the cloud, back it up however you want to back it up. But, as I mentioned on the Facebook page earlier, I've been using Roboform for an awfully long time. And I've been through many different computers with it, many different devices with it. And yet, I still managed to gather 1,579 passwords. And that's only because I was always able to back up. And then, in the case of restore, install Roboform on your new computer, and go in and hit restore, and then it will say, ask you where the file is. You'll point to your thumb drive or wherever it was, and it'll restore all your passwords and everything will work just as it had before. So it's pretty easy stuff, to do. The other thing, and we're going to be talking about this primarily because Roboform Everywhere, because there are 3 different versions of Roboform, which we'll talk about. But Roboform Everywhere allows you to synchronize all your passwords amongst all your devices that you have Roboform installed on. So once you've done that, all you have to do is sync. Whoops, let me go back there. And all you have to do is enter your user ID and password, which is the user ID and password for Roboform, and on your other devices. And just like Google works, where you log in with whatever device you're using, if you're using the Android device, and Google will sync everything else, so will Roboform. All your data, all your logins will be synced throughout all your devices. So again, makes it real easy. Now the question is, okay, there are a couple of different versions of Roboform. There's a free version, there's a desktop version, and then there's the version that I've been talking mostly about, which is Roboform Everywhere. I'll tell you what the difference is. Roboform Free is completely free for the first 10 logins. My dad never used 10 logins. So Roboform Free worked for him. You can continue to use Roboform for free on multiple computers and mobile devices, keeping everything in sync for up to the 10 logins. If you have more than 10 logins, then you should upgrade to either the Roboform Desktop or Roboform Everywhere. Now, the Roboform Desktop, it's a license for a single computer, which can be used by multiple users. You can use all the features of Roboform Desktop for as long as you wish for a one-time license fee of $29.95. If you want to install Roboform on a desktop version, on additional computers, you need to purchase additional licenses. And then the one that I like, Roboform Everywhere. This is a service with an annual fee. It allows you to install Roboform on all of your computers and devices. It includes unlimited copies of Roboform Desktop and can be used on an unlimited number of computers, USB drives, and mobile devices. Comes with a Roboform Everywhere online account, which automatically keeps your Roboform data in sync. Also allows you to securely access your login information online, for example, when you're traveling. So this is very cool. As you can see, it's now they have a special where it's $9.95 for the first year, and then after that, $19.95. So those are your three flavors of Roboform. Roboform supports just about everything out there. I'm not going to say everything out there, but well, Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Droid, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, USB devices. You can use your own. They have what they call the Roboform book marklet, which I don't know that anybody really uses, but it's there for you to use. And it works on Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google Chrome, and Opera. Got you covered everywhere you go. And this is a little commercial, some endorsements. Wall Street Journal, they had to say about it. We have here Bloomberg likes it. CNET. The New York Times. I like it. Knows what your password is, but promises not to tell. Philadelphia Inquirer. USA Today. And now we can open it up for questions.
Okay, Dave, there was one earlier that somebody typed in, Lee. Is it possible and useful to go back and forth between Roboform everywhere and storing only on the computer? Worrying more about Roboform all clouds hacked. Roboform with all the passwords, notes on security questions. Not good if hacked. Want to sync Roboform with computers, tablets, phones, but then not leave in the cloud. All, possible, smart.
Your password on Roboform everywhere. Your passwords are also on your computer. So while they're up in the cloud for the purpose of syncing, I mean, a lot of people, for me, for example, I don't use that function. I really don't sync because I just don't have the need for it. The few websites that I go to on a regular basis on a device other than my PC, I remember the passwords. So I don't really use the feature. But all of my passwords, even though I'm using Roboform everywhere, they are on my computer as well. That's why when you saw that drop-down list that I showed in an earlier slide of my 1,579 passwords, let me see if I can get back there. You'll see that they were on my computer. These weren't. This was not a list that I got from the cloud. They're there right there on my system. Now, of course, I could also, when I back them up, using that backup feature in the options, I back them up to more than one device. I back them up to an external hard drive, so they're there, and I back them up to a USB drive, so they're there. Yeah, they're also up there in the cloud, and that, to me, that's just an extra fail-safe. Just an extra layer of I'm not going to say security, protection. I know that I'm not going to, if everything blew up, if my house blew up tomorrow, my passwords would still be up there in the cloud. And it's totally encrypted. Roboform, I've been using Roboform since 2005 from a security level standpoint. I have never experienced any issue, nor have I heard of anybody who's experienced an issue. Does that mean that, can't be hacked? Well, who could say that in today's world? Especially if you're a Target employee. There's just no 100% anything, but I'm about as confident in the security that's in the encryption Roboform uses as I am with anything else. Um, I'm even, yeah.
Dave, you just said a key word which you hadn't mentioned earlier, and that is the data is encrypted. Do you happen to know what level of encryption Roboform uses?
Okay.
Okay, I know the one that I use is 250K encryption, which is above that is required by the Department of Defense.
Well,
and that's an important thing, and I'm sure Robocom's is probably at least 256K as well.
Relies on security. If their system was breached, it would hurt them as much as, probably even more so than, a retailer like Target, for example. They recovered from it. A company like Roboform might not recover from it, because that's their whole business.
But the person that was concerned about it being in the cloud, the fact that the file is encrypted, even if somebody got a hold of the file, unless they have your password to get into that file, they're not going to be able to do anything with it. So it's extremely important that you have at least 12 characters in your password for your Roboform or whatever password program you use, and make sure that it's not something someone could guess. It should be a mix of upper, lowercase numbers and symbols to make sure, but you make sure that one you're not going to be able to look up because you got to get into the program in order to remember.
But as you can see here at the screen that I'm showing now, which is the password generator window, I can scroll up on that number of characters to 100 if I wanted to. And then, let somebody have at it. Break my password. It's 100 characters. Go ahead. Have a blast.
And someone else asked a reminder of what the
right now they have a
Roboform Everywhere cost.
And $19.99 for each year after. And that's the Roboform Everywhere. The Roboform Desktop is one computer only. I'll go back to that. Okay, the Roboform Desktop, that's one computer. $29.95. It's $9.95 if you want a second license for another computer. But it's only once. You bought it, it's yours forever. Okay, the Roboform Everywhere is generally $19.95 a year, but the first year it's only $9.95 right now because of a special promotion that they're running. That's correct.
Okay, so the one that's $29 is forever.
Right, but that's multiple devices.
The one that's $19.95 is per year.
Okay, where the Roboform Desktop is one computer. You could have 10 users. You can have 10 people who share the computer. They can all use that one copy of Roboform Desktop, but it's only for the one computer. Everywhere is for all your devices.
Now, when you start your computer, do you start Roboform automatically? If I have access to your computer and it starts up and Roboform is open, don't I then have access to all of your passwords? No, because that doesn't that
you can right click
menu.
You can right click on the Roboform icon, but all that's going to do is give you the names of all the websites.
Okay, because my advice to people is that every time that you log into your computer, number one, you should have a login and not have it go to Windows automatically or whatever operating system you have. And my second piece of advice is if you're using a program like Roboform, I use something called eWallet from IlliumSoft. My suggestion is you start it up when you need it, or once you sign in, you do it. So if somebody does get your computer and they start up your computer and they can get into your computer, at least your password program is not open for them to be able to get into
the
and get your
Roboform
password.
toolbar. Okay, if you allow it, and of course you don't have to use the toolbar. That's one of the options that you could select. But if you're using the toolbar, those login windows are going to show up on the toolbar as well. Let's see if I can't get there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Dave Williams is saying that
It's a
Roboform
master
has a
password.
login password, and that's
Right.
what I'm suggesting. Yeah, right. And that would be one I would suggest. Lee is saying for info, not sure who Lee is, so he or she uses a generator to produce a site ID in addition to generating passwords for sites that allow ID versus email address. And there's a link to the program that I use, that I've been using for many years. Roboform is probably the highest rated and most used that's out there. But there are some other ones that are good.
I would assume
And I'm sure
that they all work in a similar way. Okay. The key to me is, use one. Use one, because if otherwise you'll probably have a little spiral notebook. Or you did what my father did, was he used to scotch tape them on his desk, which was great until we threw out the furniture and we had to remember to pull those passwords off his desk. Doing it this way keeps it safe and secure, and that's the key. And the ease of use is there.
Okay, Dave, I just sent you a private chat message with a list of the winners in order.
All right.
For your contest. We got to wrap this up, but the first 5, if they are here, they are the winners, and if any of them are not, if they're not online, then there's 2
by the
backup names.
That's where you can download Roboform. Obviously, Roboform.com. Okay, and now let's give away some stuff. Okay, this was fun for me anyway. I hope you learned something, picked up a little, some tidbits, and we shall see you next time. And we will get you set up with the next presenter.